Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, I'd appreciate it majorly. So, I saw the news about Chad Daybell's arraignment where the prosecutor revealed that the human remains found at his property just yesterday after the huge search was conducted, starting at 7 a.m. in the morning. The human remains are those of two children. That's he revealed that during the court appearance where it was his arraignment and bail hearing. I think that's one of the same. And his bail was set at $1 million. But one of the things that the prosecutor stated, at setting the bail so high for charges, which he's being charged with two felony counts of concealment or destruction of evidence. I believe those are the two charges, two felony counts of that. And they typically, the maximum penalty for that is fine is $10,000 as well as 5 years in prison. But the $1 million bail was set at such a high reason, and the reason stated for that was because of what I just said. The prosecutor revealed that the human remains found at the property were in fact children, and he also stated that one of the set of remains, the way they were hidden, was a particularly egregious, hidden in a particularly egregious way. I don't know. God only knows what that means, if it was dismembered or who knows, I mean, that would be my first guess. So the identities of the two sets of remains, even though they were revealed to be children, haven't publicly been identified by the authorities. However, Kay Vallow Woodcock, the biological grandmother of J.J. Vallow, who's also the sister of Charles Vallow, Lori Daybell's previous husband, who was shot and killed by Alex Coxs and so forth. She confirmed to East Idaho News that the authorities revealed to her that one of the set of remains is in fact J.J. Vallow. But the authorities haven't publicly stated that themselves, and we're waiting to hear, from the authorities on whether or not the other set of remains is in fact Tylee Ryan, which I think most people would conclude that's highly likely to be the case. So. His bail was in fact set at $1 million. The judge agreed with the prosecutor on that matter. Like I said, he's been charged with two felony counts of concealment or destruction of evidence, but whether or not other charges are coming I would think is very probable. And the two felony counts actually, I think, listed on the indictment they have date ranges starting from basically when the two kids went missing, and that's another indicator that they are directly related to, the two kids, and that the set of remains are in fact the two kids, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. One goes from September 9th to the present day, or yesterday, June 9th, 2020, and another one goes from September 22nd to the present day, or yesterday, June 9th, 2020. And I think the September 8th that's the day before the last day Tylee Ryan was seen. I believe she was caught on camera. The surveillance still shots of her at Yellowstone Park. I'm fairly certain that was September 9th, and September 22nd, that's the day before J.J. Vallow was last seen, I believe, at his school. I believe the last day he was seen on record was September 23rd at the school he was attending in Rexburg before he went missing. So there's that as well. One of the questions, he appeared, Chad Daybell appeared in court today, with his attorney. He had a new attorney whose name was John Pryor. He's new to the situation, and it was about a 25-minute court appearance. He didn't say barely anything. I didn't watch the entire 25 minutes, but I saw it reported that he only said one word, and I actually happened to just fast forward to that point just by chance, and where he just says yes. And I believe he's just responding to, do you understand your rights? And that's pretty much the only time he spoke during the entire court appearance. But his attorney, John Pryor, that is different than the attorney he had previously. Previously, he was sharing the same attorney, whose name is Mark Means, who is also representing Lori Daybell, his wife, who's been in prison for quite some time and is facing trial for child abandonment and other things. and he had dropped his previous attorney that he picked up out of Rexburg. From the very beginning, they had somebody who was not the kind of attorney that handles these sorts of cases, who just put out a public statement for them, was a local attorney. He dropped him and joined counsel, basically was until yesterday, was using the same lawyer that Lori Vallow is using, Mark Means. But now he had a different attorney in court today, John Pryor. Which, part of the reason I'm bringing that up is because yesterday during the search, and I think there's a fair amount of criticism being leveled at the police and the authorities on why it took so long to find the kids, and the fact that once they've been found, they were found right on the property where one of the suspects, lives and had been searched previously, so after all this time, they were found in a rather obvious place. But yesterday when they were digging, and it's a fairly large property, it seemed as though they knew where to dig. And they had it mapped out. You saw like a plot of sort of roped out, as well as different staging locations, by the fire pit and over by the tree. It seemed as though they knew where to go, and almost it seemed as though somebody had told them, where the bodies were. That's how it appeared to me. And up until I saw that Chad Daybell had a new attorney, John Pryor, I was I was confused because if they were sharing the same attorney, that would have led me to believe that Lori Daybell wasn't the person who tipped them off, who wasn't that she wasn't the person who was cooperating with authorities, and that basically, mapped it out for them to show them where to dig to where the bodies would be. But today he appeared in court with a different attorney, so maybe that is the case. Maybe at this point, Lori Vallow Daybell, is now cooperating with authorities, and she was the one who, pointed them to where they would be on the property. It seemed as though they knew exactly. And if it's not Lori Daybell, that's a big question that remains. Who told them where those bodies were? And I think everybody's questioning why it took all the way to this point, if they were there the entire time, to discover that. So, the other question I have, and part of the reason I brought up those dates that are listed on the indictment for Chad Daybell for the two missing kids, starting in September 9th for one to June 9th, and the other September 22nd, both of those being the days prior to they were last seen, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, is at that point, in September, Tammy Daybell was still alive. I believe, at that point, both the children and Lori Vallow at that time were living in Rexburg in a townhouse, as well as Alex Coxs, as well as Melanie Boudreau, I believe, they each had three different townhomes or condos. I think there were townhomes in that apartment complex where they were living after leaving. After leaving Arizona. I forget exactly the town in Arizona where they were living. So, but at that point, Tammy Daybell was still alive. So, at what point the kids were killed and disposed of on that property, remains a big question. And she died October 19th. There's the footage of the Rexburg, Idaho storage unit that Lori Vallow purchased starting October 1st, of them coming and going, and later it was sort of revealed by East Idaho News, by enhancing the images in the the footage of the Rexburg, Idaho storage unit surveillance footage, that it seemed as though Chad Daybell was one of the persons who visited that place with Lori, and that it wasn't just Alex Coxs. And one of those days was October 2nd, actually. I think the day after she purchased it. And the last day, I think Alex Coxs and Chad Daybell visited together, which was October 28th. And that's actually 9 days after Tammy Daybell had already died, So, and I think at different times they were bringing in and taking out, sort of storage bins that you would buy like at a Home Depot or Target or something, big large ones that you carry with two hands, But when the bodies were actually disposed of on the Daybell residence, that remains obviously a huge question. And I have many questions. I've had this theory, I've said it many, many times before, that I thought some of these individuals faked their deaths, and this was not just about insurance money, but it was about something much bigger than that, something obviously of a very big criminal nature. And, obviously I could be wrong. That's such a really crazy theory, but I believed it pretty deeply, and I'm not convinced that I'm wrong still, Alex Coxs later died on, I think, December 11th or 12th, a few days. Can't remember how many days that was after Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. But his death has been basically, at least preliminarily, has been labeled by natural causes by the medical examiner or the coroner in Maricopa County, I believe that is, in Arizona. I don't see how that's possible, given the number of deaths that took place in such a short period of time. Now you have two children potentially, or the remains of two children you can add to that, and then there's the family of on not just on the Daybell side that I don't know. I think to this point, they were, Tammy and Chad had 4 grown children, to the best of my, 3 or 4 grown children who were starting families themselves, had very normal, upstanding lives in the community, some right there in Salem, Idaho, I believe. And there wasn't a whole lot expressed from them on the death of their mother, not demanding an autopsy and so forth. So I'm still not convinced that, and there's too much to go into right now, for me to explain that and explain my reasons for still not being convinced at this particular, in this video, because I gotta get going. But that's pretty much the story there. I mean, it's a huge development, and we'll see as this unfolds, some of the timing of things and how they took place. We'll see. All right, that's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. And by the way, very quickly before Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell, they were in Hawaii at the time that Alex Coxs passed away. Okay, I know his death has been it's claimed that it was by natural causes, but they weren't even on the mainland at the time that he died. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.